Do you ever play a game and think, this is okay I guess, but why does my character have only 2 legs? I know how you're feeling. I'm bored of walking around upright like some kind of normie using opposable thumbs to pick things up. Ew, gross! Get those noodles away from me! Well, let's look into the clearly superior genre of gaming where you play as animals. Yes, I know humans are animals too, you big nerd, but for the sake of simplicity, anytime I refer to an animal in this video, I mean an animal other than a human.
What does your family do on those stay indoors rainy afternoons? Or on those cold, blustery winter days?
The year is 1972. The Godfather is #1 at the box office, Apollo 16 landed on the moon, and the UK's Chancellor of the Exchequer, Anthony Barber, announced a decision for the pound sterling to move to a floating exchange rate, which was intended to be temporary but ended up being permanent. Oh, and this console was released.
Odyssey. The electronic game of the future.
The Magnavox. Oh, the Magnavox. Why is every damn video I make have some word that I just don't know how to pronounce? The Magnavox. The Magnavox Odyssey was the first home console ever made and was capable of displaying not 1, not 2, but 3 square dots and 1 line of varying height on the screen in black and white. Players placed plastic overlays on the screen to display additional visual elements for each game. One of these games was Cat and Mouse, a 2-player game where a mouse chases a cat. No, wait. This was the first video game where you could play as an animal. Kinda. I guess you technically control a dot on the screen, which is supposed to represent a cat or a mouse. I'm gonna count it. Alright then, how about something a little more substantial? 1983's Alley Cat was a game changer. Before then, gamers around the world wondered, what is a cat and will it eat me? But with the lovable black cat Freddy breaking and entering people's homes to find some pussy, cat called Felicia, gamers around the world rejoiced at a new cuddly companion they could scratch its little neck cause it's just so cute. Before the 90s, video game hardware wasn't exactly the most advanced, so really, whether the character was a cat, a dog, a human, a worm, they all pretty much move the same. A bunch of pixels moving around the screen with a few frames of animation. But then the 90s came. Kids were playing with their Tamagotchis, Captain Planet was saving the world, and kids were drawing that dope-ass S in their notebooks. And they'd use that S to write down Sonic the Hedgehog before they went home to play Sonic the Hedgehog on their Sonic the Hedgehog device. We're now in the realm of anthropomorphism. We're now in the realm of anthropomorphism, where the main character of a video game is a hedgehog that runs at Mach 3. Okay, well that part isn't exactly very human, but this hedgehog runs on 2 legs, talks, jumps, taps its feet impatiently like a human, and does sick roly-polies to impress his mates. As game development got more advanced, we now had animals that acted like animals and animals that acted more like humans. Before the era of games like Sonic, animals in games were pretty much like animals. Probably because there was so much limitation to the graphics and gameplay that half the time you couldn't even tell if you were playing as a human or a block of cheese. But now we got colour, we got those 8-bit tunes, we got scores, collectibles, double jumps, discernible faces, what a time to be alive. This was the era of superpowered animals doing all sorts of crazy shit, where they may as well be humans wearing a Bandicoot costume. I played a lot of Crash Bandicoot growing up, but I'll be honest, half the time I kind of forget he's a Bandicoot. But I guess I never really thought of him as a person either, just like some kind of made up fantasy creature, not quite a Bandicoot, not quite a human. I don't know, who cares, it was a fun time. But then people started thinking, what if you play as a dog? But not some kind of super dog. But just like a regular dog, going around chasing squirrels and sniffing butts, and we'll call him Jake. One Friday night in 2003, I was walking into Blockbuster with my family on our typical movie night excursion, when I wandered down the game aisle, as I always did, and on one of the shelves I spotted this dude's face eyeing me up like, whoa, you can play as a dog? So I grabbed that bad boy and went straight to the counter to rent it, along with The Simpsons Hit and Run, The Lord of the Rings Return of the King, Tony Hawk's Underground, Need for Speed Underground, and Jak 2 Underground. God, what a year for video games. Dog's Life was a wild time. Sometimes I think I just made that game up, like it was some sort of dream. See, this was my first time playing such a realistic portrayal of a dog.
Hi, I'm Jake.
I got to feel what it was like to be a dog and smell my way around levels and like piss on the floor. I wouldn't be surprised if this was many people's first encounter with an animal simulator game, because there wasn't really much choice before this, and what an absolute home run it was. And then there's the section of gaming where the animal is pretty normal. It's not being anthropomorphized. This word. It's not being anthropomorphized or anything, but everything going on in the world is just bananas. Like in Goat Simulator, where there's this weird juxtaposition of a goat just being a goat, but also the goat is knocking people off buildings and using a jetpack and things are exploding and it's all chaos and the goat is like... And then you have games where the animal is modeled just like the real thing, but it's pretending to be a human, and that's the point of the game. Octodad Dadliest Catch is a fascinating game, because in basically every other animal game, no matter how many limbs you have, you still control the character like you would a human, moving with the analog stick, and jumping and dodging and slashing and pissing on the floor. But I feel like most games don't really take advantage of the fact that all animals are shaped differently and have varying number of limbs. Like in Octodad, you play as an octopus. So of course you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs! And instead of just running around collecting groceries like you would in any other octopus game, you flop around wildly controlling 4 different limbs independently. He doubles up his tentacles together so they appear like 4 limbs rather than 8, because he's pretending to be a dad, and most dads don't have 8 limbs. The point of this game is its difficult movement mechanics. That's kind of what makes the game challenging. But there's something more here, something I feel like other games could implement. Like, what if there's a game where you play as an octopus or another animal with 6 or 8 limbs, and you run as usual with the analog stick, but multiple buttons utilize multiple limbs or something? You're a genetically engineered octopus in the year 2185 who's been sent on a desperate mission across the galaxy to find the daughter of a high-ranking official who's been kidnapped by genetically engineered refrigerators. And you control all 8 limbs individually to punch and kick your way through the cosmos. That actually sounds like a horrific gaming experience, never mind. Here's a goose instead. See, now geese don't have arms, just 2 little waddling legs. So when Untitled Goose came out in 2019 and you couldn't punch anybody, people were like, whoa, that's crazy. It's like an actual goose being a giant arsehole. That's so realistic. And then you could play as a giant crab having a sword fight, and the world felt balanced again. Then there came Stray, the game that won everyone's hearts the moment they saw a cute ginger cat with a backpack walking down the street at E3. The whole time I watched this trailer, I was thinking, please tell me you play as a cat. Please tell me you play as a cat. You play as a cat.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Stray is probably the most realistic portrayal of a playable animal I've ever seen in a game before. He can't talk, he knocks over paint cans, and goes when someone puts a backpack on him. Honestly, even the cat parkour isn't that unrealistic. Cats are agile AF, boy. And they can jump stupidly high. The most unrealistic thing about this cat is how insanely intelligent he is, solving quests and saving the city, but just meows his way through the campaign pretending to be a big dum-dum. We know your secret, Stray. You can't hide your intellect behind your adorable little face, even though it's just so cute! Most games with animal protagonists have some element of the character that was more fantastical. You're a blue supersonic hedgehog that bashes enemies to death, or you're a parkouring goat with a jetpack. But with Stray, you're just a cat. Albeit a very intelligent cat, but you are just a cat. You don't have any special moves, you don't talk, you don't run like a human, you're just a cat climbing onto ledges and meowing at robots. The most unrealistic thing about Stray is everything but the cat. You got robots and mutated blobs, but it all seems very grounded still. It's definitely one of my favourite games of recent years, and even though the cat has no attacks, barring a light, no power-ups, double jumps or triple flip resets, running around the world was a hoot. I loved the story and the world was beautiful, so interacting with characters and unravelling the story was an absolute joy, even though the cat was just a cat, doing cat things, and saving the city.